So the game is finished. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 2 at Old Trafford. In the best outing at Old Trafford that I've seen in recent memory, to be completely honest with you. I'm very, very happy with the result, as you can probably tell. And also because West Ham are now 15th in the Premier League table, which, to be honest with you, I kind of felt like we might have been rooted to 17th for the rest of the season. So, to be honest with you, I'm going to take what I'm given at this moment in time. And yes, I am going to celebrate absolute mediocrity for the position that we're in at this season right now. So, look, I mean, I felt like it was a pretty decent game, if I'm completely honest with you. I quite enjoyed it. We were talking, 9 shots to Manchester United's 20, but they had only 5 of those actually on target and we had 4. So actually, obviously of those 4 on target, we scored 2 of those. So a much better return from us. And most of their shots that they had were either from outside of the box or they were crossed in. So really fairly low percentage chances, and I'm quite happy giving them all day long because they just weren't able to put any of them away. And that's not in part, that's not discounting the heavy shift that Alphonse Areola put in today. So very, very, very pleased indeed. I think, like most people, as soon as the starting lineup came out, I was feeling pretty damn negative about the game. So really, for the first sort of 5 or 10 minutes, I can't say I was actually particularly watching it very closely. If I'm honest, I just kind of assumed we'd get absolutely slaughtered. If I'm completely honest with you, and I was quite pleased to say that obviously that didn't happen. It shows, like, look, what do we know? A lot of things go on behind the scenes that we're not privy to, and whether that's arguments that go on between players, between manager and the players, or even more positive things, just like how someone's training. Like if someone's doing particularly well, and deserves a start over somebody else who's being a bit lazy, maybe, or something like that. We don't see those things. So I'm not exactly sure what happened in the lineup. There was some rumours of someone having a bit of a cold. I think it might have been Paqueta. And just not wanting to risk him, rather than the alleged betting thing that's going on. But I'm sure obviously that would have played a part as well. But yeah, as I say, look, long story short, the lineup I thought absolutely sucked. For all the reasons that everybody had said before, which is that we're talking about an aging squad. Players that aren't going to be here, and at this point of the season, we're pretty much looking at an extended pre-season of next year. And yeah, I was a little bit disappointed not to see some more youth in the squad, to be honest with you, because it wasn't a particularly important game, though the 3 points are very, very welcome. Look, I thought Kudus had a really, really good game, got himself amongst it, got back when he needed to, but there was not without a couple of issues where obviously just carrying that ball just a little bit too far before he puts his head up and makes the pass. But thankfully not so much of that today, and was very instrumental in both of the goals before he was substituted off later on in the game. But look, there is that sort of cynical part of me as well that always sort of thinks, well, this is Kudus trying to flash for a move, and look, I don't hate it too much, to be honest. To be completely honest with you, some of the games that he's played in recent memory probably did nothing to help his reputation, and probably harmed the price that we'd be able to sell him for. And I don't think this game did. I think this game has gone a good way to making sure that we get the right value for him when the time does come. And I think that probably is the end of this season. As I said, I don't think Man United looked particularly threatening today, and I think they missed a few good chances, particularly Højlund near the end. Areola made an incredible, reaction save from point-blank range. Højlund probably could have done a little bit better with that, but you can't discount what Areola did there. It was an incredible save. As good as a goal at that point from for us scoring, because that would have made it 2-1. And if anyone can remember, obviously very, very recent memory, that Manchester United game against Lyon, where I watched the game because I thought it'd be funny, really, to watch Man U go out, and I got to say I had my fun and it was quite funny. But then obviously I closed the lid on the laptop and carried on watching whatever me and the wife were watching on TV that night, and little did I know they would make a historic comeback. So I was quite concerned that might happen to us. I didn't really want to be on the receiving end of that. And those 15 to 20 minutes or so at the end of the game raised my blood pressure quite considerably, I would probably say. But look, it's a sort of a demonstration of luck just finally going our way for a change. I think a lot of people have sort of said that, I'm kind of backed Potter up when he said we have been competitive over these games, and we have. We're not been talking 4-5-1 or anything like that, thrashings like we were getting at the front end of the season. We are a bit tighter. We are a bit more competitive. You just look at what some of these teams are doing now that we've played and we've been a little bit, unlucky against. Even Southampton. I mean, Southampton drew with City, so all is not lost there, guys. I mean, it sucked. I was at the game. It was a very boring game, but you just look at some of our opponents in recent times and you think, look, actually, maybe there were some good teams on a high, or or something like that. Everton, one of them, Wolves being another, Spurs not, obviously. We definitely should have got a result there, but what the point I'm getting at here is I think there's maybe more to be positive about than you could maybe think of at surface level. To talk about the goal, the first goal. So Kudus went out to the left wing and took on a few players, did a really, really good job there, and then pinged it across the 6-yard box pretty much, like nice and hard. To be honest with you, whoever it was going to hit, that was going in. Toenail, doesn't matter. But actually it was quite a nifty little bit of skill there, I think, from Souček. A lot of people were, I think, trying to write him out of that one, but I think he meant that one. I've seen the replay a few times now. I think he quite clearly means to put that in the back of the net with a little sort of back flick there. I mean, he's quite lucky, as you say, because it goes through the defender's legs. On another day, that doesn't happen, but Souček just seems to put himself in the position to score. And in life, sometimes you just got to put yourself in a position to be lucky. And, you make your own luck in that kind of sense. So people say he's lucky. Well, I think the stats might disagree. It's funny because around that sort of time, I was watching it with my daughter. She's 7. And she said to me, if the team scores a really good goal, really nice one, good looking one, do they get extra points? And no, obviously they don't. But yeah, I had to explain to her that no matter what the goal looks like, you don't draw pictures on the scorecard as such. And this was sort of one of those goals, I think. It didn't look particularly appealing, but, a goal's a goal. And it doesn't matter if you're Brighton scoring 2 worldies from 35 yards or whether you're Souček, just nicking it in from like 3 yards out. At the end of the day, a goal's a goal. And I was very, very pleased. So, something to cheer about. But to be honest with you, at the time, I didn't really cheer anyway, to be honest with you. As I said, I was pretty down on, the way that I was feeling about the game and the way that I've been feeling about West Ham's performances in recent games as well. And I thought, 1-0 up, that just means we're going to lose 2-1 instead of 2-0. But actually, the commentators were saying that, the statistics would tell us that if we score first, we're normally all right. It's when we go 1-0 down, that's when you really got to worry. So, you might be right. But yeah, it's nice to just sort of see a little bit of luck going our way for a change. Second goal, Kudus again starts running at the defence, takes on a few, gets past a few, tries to make the shot himself, a little bit clumsy, but it comes off, a little bit fortunate again from one of the defenders and goes out onto the left side, right into the path of Wan-Bissaka, who once again just plays a lovely ball right across the box, and Bowen's at the far end for a tap in basically. But that being said, that's a lot harder than it looks. You still got to get above it. You've seen the amount of times you've seen people spoon them over the bar. So you still got to actually finish that. So fair play to Bowen for being there and taking advantage of the situation when it arose, right? And at that point, my daughter was quite scared because I was jumping around the living room. That was the time when I actually did want to celebrate because I felt like we could have actually stolen that game then. And you dare to dream, don't you? And it turns out I was right too. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing. You can't lose all hope. Otherwise, what is it you're watching it for? But yeah, as I say, then it comes just trying to keep hold of the lead at that point, and we made what I felt was a fairly negative change, bringing off Bowen and Kudus. But look, at the end of the day, we didn't concede, so I have to concede that. Potter knows better than me. I mean, why wouldn't he? He should do. But the last 15, 20 minutes or so, that was a tough watch. But thankfully, as I say, we did leave them with only fairly low percentage efforts, other than Hoyland, of course, who really should have got that one, and perhaps Garnacho should have done a little bit better, but it didn't. So it doesn't matter, does it? Otherwise, I think probably the biggest attacking threat from Man U was probably Harry Maguire. Which, to be fair, the more and more I've seen of him, the more I'm a bit gutted we didn't get him. It's a bit of a shame. I reckon he'd have liked it here more than he would have done there. Maybe not for the current form that we've got, but I don't know. I feel like there's a good player there. Quite like Maguire. I like his attitude. And I think he made a really big change to their team around the sort of 50-minute mark or so. They had an injury, and a young lad, forget his name, and but look, let's sum it up. I think it's always good to get the 3 points, especially when you get them at Old Trafford. Makes it just that little bit sweeter, doesn't it? Don't get me wrong. I'm not under any delusions that Man U actually cared about that game in any way, shape, or form. But in this season, I'm going to take what I'm given, and I will love it.